Now joining us live to shed more light on this is Dan Perry, former editor-in-chief of AP of Europe, West Asia, and Africa region, joining us live from Tel Aviv. Mr. Perry, thank you so much for joining us once more here on NewsX World. Let's dive into this. What more can you tell us about the military capabilities that the U.S. is willing to essentially draw upon to now protect commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz? We've seen the naval blockade. What other insights do you have, sir? Please.
I mean, it's a question of basically accompanying these ships as they cross through, I suppose, the Omani corridor, which is of the three, the one that is southernmost and the one that is outside the territorial waters of Iran. Not that territorial waters themselves are an excuse for what Iran is doing, but this would be even beyond the territorial waters. That said, the ability to guard against drones and rockets is problematic. I don't know of too many insurers that would agree to work with shipping that is under such a threat. So even though the Americans can assure that they will try to secure the passage, even though there may be efforts in the future, I suppose, mainly at demining the middle route, which is what shipping used to take before the conflict, but it has been mined by the IRGC. I think the only way that this is going to work is either if Iran is compelled to stop doing this or agrees in the context of an agreement to stop doing this, or if war resumes and the regime is eventually brought down. I mean, it kind of comes down to that. It is astonishing, Prashant, that given the incredible windfall that the MOU, which I've called the U.S. capitulation document, was about to give the Iranian regime, they persist in this because whatever tolls they might be able to charge or other fees, and I doubt they'll be able to charge anything at all. But whatever they might contemplate trying to do, it pales before the hundreds of billions of dollars that they were set to get in investment, and the tens of billions in unfrozen assets and the right that they had been given to once again freely or almost freely export oil. It's just amazing. So it sort of suggests that the Iranians are eager to see the war restart, or truly in the throes of such hubris that they think that because the midterms are coming, Trump has no options and they can humiliate the US totally and declare economic war on the world, essentially, and the world will turn the other cheek. And I think they may be underestimating the power of the rest of the world. I think they may be in a situation where pride comes before the fall. I don't know what to say. It's also possible that the Iranians, invented chess and are negotiating very hard and will somehow be reasonable once more in exchange for what concessions on a nuclear file. It's hard to see because they've already won so many concessions. Consider that the war was launched in order to save the Iranian people, bring down the regime, certainly demand democratic reforms. Israel very much wanted the Iranians to be forced to stop funding and deploying proxy militias all around the Arab world, some of them, but not all of them, primed to attack Israel. None of this is being demanded of the Iranians anymore, and yet we are told that there are streams of thought in Iran that think that they're the ones who have given too much and that are now insisting on this Hormuz control, which is something that we may forget, but I have to remind viewers, Iran did not have before February 28th.
Stance is concerned. Do you believe that we're looking not just at a prolonged conflict, but at an Iran where in due time, maybe even after Trump is in office, that some of their supreme leaders are wiped out, and then of course we're looking at a situation like we saw in the last 2 decades, I believe even before that, like we saw in Baghdad, for example, where there is a strong military presence, and of course this just leads to Iran not being able to have an economy or any military capabilities for that matter, and they're stripped of all of this might that they are projecting right now. Is that a possibility?
It sounds like you're asking if the Americans might invade Iran with boots on the ground, because that was a
Yes.
military might that was in Iraq. Is that the
Yes,
question?
that's right. Yes.
Well, so Iran is a much bigger country. It's several times bigger than Iran territorially. It's than Iraq
Right.
territorially. It has about almost three times the population. Um, and it came very close to a nuclear weapon, unlike Iraq. I think there would be tremendous opposition to the kind of force, to establishing the kind of force that would be needed to take over the entire country. Could there be an expeditionary force that goes to Tehran and just takes over the capital? Maybe. I could also envision uh, 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 a seizure of the area around the Strait of Hormuz. Not that they can't fire from further away, and there's also other parts along the Persian Gulf from which they can fire, but the Strait of Hormuz is really narrow at 30 miles. And for Iran to control that and use that beachhead to make trouble is inconvenient if this is what they're going to do. So I could see limited territorial presences by Western alliance, but mostly, I think what we're more likely to see is airstrikes, which can cause a lot of damage, for sure. Especially if you escalate to the point where you're attacking civilian infrastructure that endangers the economy, and also a reestablishment of the sea blockade. And I would imagine next time around, it'll be a sea, land, and air blockade, perhaps daring Pakistan to open up a land corridor. Would they really? What would China do? An airlift for 90 million people? I think the Iranian regime will be in very big trouble if such a thing is created. And the difference between now and then may be this: Trump and of course Netanyahu are just terrible messengers for a war of choice against however horrible a regime. They're not trusted in the world, and Trump had just completed a year plus of insulting and demeaning his NATO allies, slapping tariffs on allies, threatening to invade Denmark to seize Greenland. Trump had very much alienated the people he needed to help him in the war, and now he complains. So you could say he doth protest too much. You could also say that he kind of had it coming, but it's going to be different if
Mm.
the situation we're facing now is an Iran that has declared economic war on the rest of the world,
Mm.
also Asia.
Mm.
And it may be that they may find this a conveniently fractured landscape where the US is somewhat at loggerheads with the rest of NATO is no longer the case, and everyone is united against that. And of course, such unity would also include unity and alignment with the Iranian people, who would like nothing better than to be rid of their oppressors. So I think they're overplaying their hand. I understand that they might not even be serious because this is how they roll and they negotiate real hard. But if indeed they are, then I think the world has little choice but to strike back. And what that will look like, I think, is, as I said, mainly airstrikes, but primarily a complete and total hermetic blockade.
Mr. Perry, just one last question. You spoke briefly, I believe, unseriously rather, about China and the fact that they could, or wouldn't, or would airlift 90 million people out of Iran. Tell us
No, no, no,
more.
that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I meant
Right.
if there's a total blockade of Iran, so nothing gets in,
Mm.
basically, and he certainly can
Right.
export nothing. Would the Chinese try to break that blockade, risking conflict over the skies of Iran, by airlifting supplies in or
Oh.
exports out?
Oh.
That is what I meant. So no, no,
Got
no, I
it.
wasn't talking about the ethnic cleansing of Iran. I was
Right.
talking about who might try to break a global blockade of the Iranian regime. And
Right.
you're right that I was facetious. I don't think the Chinese would do this at all.
Yes. Very interesting, Mr. Perry. We'll speak soon as we have more developments. Thank you very much.